Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, a massive announcement, some unbannings and an unbanning with, well, a little bit of a very specific note about that card. Let's jump into it. So first up in this article from Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, Unbanned Biorhythm. That's right, Biorhythm is now unbanned. A sorcery for 8 mana and green. Each player's life total becomes the number of creatures they control. This is a card that's been banned for a long time because, well, it is a game-ending card, and players, have been on both sides of the fence for this one. I feel like more lately, have been hearing more people be like, yeah, unban it, why not? It is a card, essentially, where, yes, it is a giant spell. Again, 8 mana. Of course, there are ways to cheat that mana. There's always ways to cheat mana in Commander, right? That being said, it is a card that can warp the entire game because some players might not have any creatures. Some players might have all the creatures. Again, it is a way to essentially set life totals, usually very, very low or at 0, and essentially just change the entire outlook of a game. There are other cards that essentially, do somewhat similar things to this one. That being said, this has been one that has been, well, out there and banned for quite a while. It is one where, again, if you're playing against, a spell slinger deck and they don't have a counterspell, they might just be out of luck and out of the game because, well, if they're not committing to the board and have no creatures, too bad for them. Versus you, if you got creatures, yeah, you're like, okay, maybe I went down a little bit. You probably go down, typically, unless it's late in the game, right? Like, unless you've got 40-plus creatures in play, which, good for you, you're probably already winning the game without this card. You're usually going down in life total, even if you're the one casting it. But you're going to be okay with that because typically you're taking other players down to nearly nothing or, again, nothing and just winning the game right there. Of course, some combos as well. If you have like a one-sided board wipe, you're like, oh yeah, all your creatures are gone. I've got a creature in play. I cast this. I win. There we go. Let's see what Gavin had to say about this. Biorhythm has the potential to be a powerful card. It can end the game on the spot for a player with no creatures, and you can set up board states where you take out all 3 opponents in a single go. Just said that. We talked about this card a lot last year and decided, ultimately, to leave it on the ban list for the first go-round. Its potential strength and a disproportionate impact to the player to your right was something we noted and decided to hold off on. They do bring up that, like the disproportionate, impact on the player to your right. It's just kind of a fact about, Commander, in my opinion. It's a multiplayer game. Like, just where you're sitting sometimes really, really, really hurts you. It just depends on the situation. And this one being like, okay, if the player casts it, and then let's say everyone gets set down to 5 life. Let's say everyone's got 5 creatures in play. The player on your right probably isn't going to make it. They're probably just going to get taken out. You having cast it, you probably have more creatures in play, maybe. You have more life. We've got a way to protect yourself, essentially. The player to your right has more opportunities to get taken out by the other players, essentially. So, yeah, that is something to take into account. I personally, again, just say, you chalk it up to, it being a multiplayer game. That's just what happens. While we respect those concerns about ending the game and sitting to the bio player's right as a big disadvantage, we have now successfully unbanned several expensive spells that radically warp or end the game. Worldfire, in the days before the Commander format panel, Sway the Stars, and Coalition Victory. All those have ultimately turned out fine, while Biorhythm is stronger, easier to set up, and yes, can make the game unsatisfyingly end. Takes enough setup, has got enough counterplay that it's far from an auto-include. As situational 8-mana sorcery, there are plenty of times where it's a weak draw. I agree. If you have that on turn 1, you're like, oh, this is a terrible, terrible card in my hand, terrible draw. That being said, obviously, it is a game-ending card, and the other ones that they brought up are good cases where, yeah, they haven't broken the format. Like Worldfire, cool, yeah, unbanned. Sway the Stars, cool, unbanned. Coalition Victory, that is one where, again, Commander players for a long time been like, unban it. Like, it's a very commandery card, absolutely. And in my opinion, you could argue that, Biorhythm isn't that much easier to set up than Coalition Victory, or even that Coalition Victory is technically easier to set up if you've got, like, a 5-color commander. So, yeah, play that. Okay, I checked that box. Now I just need 1 land of each kind. Okay, that's incredibly easy to do. Just ramp. There you go. Fix your mana. Cool, all right, you're there. Biorhythm, you probably need to have a decent amount of creatures in play, or at least need to be able to manage your opponent's creatures in play, essentially. So you could argue which one's easier. Regardless, again, none of them have ever broken the format, so it is completely fine to say, yeah, Biorhythm is probably going to be completely okay as a card, and such, and be like, well, I can't believe I'm sitting at another table with Biorhythm. That's probably not going to be the case. All right, we accept that there's some risk here, but it's also a card with big moments that will generate some excitement. I personally can imagine a lot of games slowly turn upside down in a memorable way as Biorhythm resolves, and suddenly the game has changed. Absolutely. Makes for a very memorable experience as long as it isn't happening too often. Agreed. And I don't think it's going to be one of those sets of cards that's like, now it's just chucked into every single deck that can utilize it. I don't think that's going to be the case. Again, there's going to be plenty of times where even if you are in a creature-based strategy, it might be a terrible card in your hand because, yeah, okay, I've got like one creature in play because the board just got wiped, and like I have one creature, other players have more creatures, I'm in trouble. I'm not going to cast it. Like all the previously unbanned cards, this will immediately be put on the Game Changers list as well, where it belongs. This card, it quite definitively changes the game. Most definitely it does, and yeah, sure, it can be a game changer, and it can actually impact, you know, what kinds of tables it might be seeing play at. But yeah, I do think it is one that I agree should have been unbanned. And it finally happened, kind of. Unban Lutri the Spell Chaser. Lutri is a 3/2 elemental otter. Oh, so cute otter. For 3 mana, and is it? It's got Companion. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name, and that's the reason why it was banned. Because of it as a companion. It being a companion is, yes, just unfair. It just is strictly unfair. It is just, hey, if you have Is It colors, you get an extra card because that's not really a restriction. That is just Commander. Commander is having non-land cards with different names. It's got Flash, enters the battlefield if you cast it, copy target, insert short spell you control, you choose targets for the copy. Again, the reason why it was banned, essentially, is that not because its ability is too powerful, it could literally just be a plain 3/2 for 3 mana, and it still would have been banned. Because, again, Companion makes it so it's just a free additional card for those decks. And they can't have that, essentially, right? You can't just have, all right, oh, you're playing these colors? You just get a free benefit that no other color palette gets. You get an extra card, why not? Let's see what they had to say about it, though, and how it is actually getting unbanned. Lutri, the Spell Chase's banning has always been a quirk. I was there in the room the day we first discussed how Lutri would need to be banned in Commander immediately, and how we'd have to talk to the Commander Rules Committee at the time to get that sorted out. So again, basically, they knew it was going to be banned the second that they printed the card, because they're like, yeah, this isn't necessarily a card for Commander, because, again, it doesn't actually have any kind of restriction to the deck. Lutri itself is far from too strong of a card in a game of Commander. Agreed, in a game of Commander, as long as it's a companion. The problem is that Lutri is legal as companion. Every deck for the rest of time that has a blue-red color identity should have Lutri as a companion. Yeah, no, really. There is absolutely no downside to doing so, except for Dragon's Approach decks. There we go. I guess they should have said that. Haha. Anyways, we don't want blue-red decks to have access to an extra card in every game of Commander for all time. And it's not like it's a color combination that needs that help. True. Nor have players who don't have access to Lutri get told that they have to play Lutri. It's a really undesirable outcome to add a card that shows up at the level of ubiquity. Agreed. Again, that's literally the reason why, and there's some players out there that don't necessarily understand that. It's just an unfair advantage that would be had by any kind of blue-red decks out there. Any ones that have that color combination, you just get free Lutri, which is just inherently unfair. Anyways, however, Lutri has a lot going for it. Copying spells is fun. Agreed. It's cute otter. Agreed. Since the day Lutri was revealed, players have been asking to play with the card in Commander. A request has only risen in popularity post-Bloomborough. Okay, yeah, sure, there's otters. All right, they're cute. We get it, all right. After much discussion, we decided to free Lutri. So today, we're creating a new designation, banned as a companion. It's exactly as it sounds. Lutri can't be used as a companion, but it can appear in your deck or be your commander. I mean, this is literally the only time this is ever going to be used. If they don't ever start companions again, which I doubt they will, because it was kind of a disaster, and a lot of things had to be banned in other formats, essentially. I think even in, like, what, Vintage or Legacy, essentially, things were banned. Yeah, they're probably not going back to companion ever, and just banning this as a companion makes it can be played in Commander. It just can't be a companion. So again, literally just, if you have a Lutri card, I guess just Sharpie out the companion part. No, you don't really have to do that, but there you go. Essentially, again, it is a card that, yeah, it's not broken in any way at all. It really isn't at all. It is a completely fine card for any game of Commander, as long as it's not a companion, because it's just a free extra card. So now just creating this distinction, well, now it's fine. And again, if there are future companions in the future, that are made, then they could use that too if they need to. That distinction does not need to be used on any other companion at all. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, creating an additional list is something to be very careful about. Agreed. And this is where the discussion is going to go from here. There were plenty of discussions in the past with the dangers of ban as companion list. It's one more list you have to keep track of and adds complexity, among other reasons. However, today we're largely okay with doing that for Lutri for 2 big reasons. It's a cute otter. First, if someone asks, so someone says they're going to have Lutri be their companion, it's the easiest thing to fix. You just say, hey, did you know you can't do that? And likely it changes what their deck is doing very little. Yeah, again, typically you're not going to be like, well, my entire deck is built around Lutri as my companion. Probably not. It's probably just a free extra card. This is different than something being banned as a commander where suddenly someone's entire deck is invalid. I don't disagree with that. Second, unlike Legends, writ large, we aren't really planning to tap into companion mechanic much more. No, really. And all the other ones are currently we have fine. Yes, they are. It's not like you're going to need to monitor another list that oscillates. The list is likely to remain just Lutri. Agreed. And once again, if you companion it, it's very easy for a player to point it doesn't work. The failure case is very minimal. Agreed. It's just, hey, you know what? You can't play with that one card. Okay, play with your deck still. You just can't play with that Lutri. It doesn't wreck your entire deck not to have it. You didn't build your entire deck around it, most likely, I would think. So anyways, that being said, here we go. Now, don't take this to mean we're likely to plan a ban as commander list in the future. This is a unique case and solution for an otter people have been waiting for. I mean, I agree that it's not that big of a deal, but I think they realize that people are going to start then discussing further, like the ban as companion, their commander. I mean, that is kind of like their probably hesitance, really, like when it came to like making that list, is not that, well, we're gonna have more companions in the future. Probably not. That other companions have to go on that list. Probably not. It is that by opening it up and creating a separate list, you're gonna get people being like, well, how about banned as commander? Because we want Iona or we want Grizzlebrand. That kind of discussion essentially is definitely going to be happening a bit more because we have this brand new secondary list. I do agree with their point though that like, hey, it is less risky to essentially be like, okay, this is a small list with just one card on it. And again, the downside is not that you have to dismantle an entire deck. You're just saying, okay, I literally can't play with this as my companion. I can still play with the deck, kill the companion. If you have a banned as commander list, there could be, again, with some newer players, some confusion around that. And again, they build a deck around, say, Grizzlebrand, and essentially they're like, oh, wait, you actually can't play with that entire deck. And it just wrecks your entire deck. And they might have spent hundreds of dollars on it, and all of a sudden, now they're out of that because they can't play it. Unless they're, finding a play group that's okay with playing banned commanders, which there are them out there, obviously. And you can have, like, those situations, but, again, for the most part, it's more of a risk. Speaking of new cases, we are breaking our no protocol, moving cards from the ban list to the game changers. Yeah, no, really. When they're unbanned for Lutri because the card was banned solely due to its strength as a companion, doesn't apply here. There's no reason to gate as a game changer. Agreed. Again, like, literally be ridiculous to be like, yeah, we have, basically a worse dual caster mage, essentially, that is going to be a game changer. So, yeah, I don't think that that's a big deal at all. Lutri is finally free. We hope you enjoy playing with the Spell Chaser. Additionally, they have 3 other cards discussed heavily. If you want to read that, I'll include the link in the description below. Essentially, there are 3 others that they're talking about unbanning. They didn't. Maybe I'll give you a quick preview, actually. Here we go. So, Sundering Titan, woo. Iona, woo. And Grizzlebrand, woo. So, yeah, again, those were all discussed. They are not unbanned. We'll see in the future if they do get unbanned. But finally, for those who have been asking for the otter to get unbanned, it is Lutri the Spell Chaser and also Biorhythm. Yeah, have fun. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.